is explaining the letter the Alter Rebbe wrote after Peterburg, Geras HaKodesh, the second one, Kotointi Kol HaChassadim. And the Alter Rebbe completely negates, in the strongest terms, any expression of victory, even to the point, even Lisrek Aleya, to whistle, which the Rebbe explains means a whistle of Kedusha. And the question is why? Why to that degree? And related to that question is that he draws the contrast between Chesed Avraham and Chesed Yishmael, that the more Chesed Yishmael gets, the more arrogant. But he makes the point that since he's talking to Eden, Chassidim, he means Chesed Yishmael, the Kedusha. Even that is negated. And first, what is Chesed Yishmael? He's asking, how could there be Chesed if there's Yeshus altogether? The only keli fit for the course is bittul. So how could such a thing of Chesed Yishmael exist? And the standard answer is, which the Maimon doesn't address, is it's in Klippa, Chines Achorayim. But here he's asking the question, as it is in Kedusha. What kind of Chesed is this if it's there's no bittul? And the emphasis is he's going on to explain now. It's even higher than in Dargis. It's called Rav Chesed, which is Chesed Arich. In contrast to, which is what he's talking about, small Chesed. And what's small Chesed? Chesed Zute or Zeir Ampin. It's Chesed Atzilus. So explain Bariches, they can't be called small because it's insignificant or less than. We're talking Atzilus. Atzilus is bligvul. It can't be small because it's not unlimited. Chesed Atzilus is bligvul. That's whole arichas in that. Anything which is even relatively bligvul is a keli for the true bligvul, even if it's only relatively big, which we address, but it's not the Nekudah. But the Metzius is that Chesed Atzilus is bligvul. So why is it called Zutta? Why is it called Zer Ampin, small faces? The answer is mitzad the Maila, the bittul. Rav Chesed, the Arich is Rav Chesed, it's great Chesed. And Chesed Atzilus is mitzad bittul. Now, this needs to be understood. I didn't spell out the questions I'm going to now. What's completely not understood here is that principle is, obviously, logic. The higher, the more bittul. The higher, the more bittul, closer to the Eibush, the greater the bittul. So what's emerging now is, which is now going to finally this ois now, it seems, I didn't learn further, explain this paradox that Chesed Arich is Rav Chesed, and that comes up, and that's Chesed Yishmael in Kedusha. It's abundant, it's pashtus. And Chesed Atzilus is a lower dark mitzad bittul, but that's the Atzmizdike. But the Atzmizdike expression of the Eibush is dafke in the Gvul, Kema which we'll explain now. This is Bemis, as I mentioned, in the Kudla of the mind that you all said before the book. But the Badakim, which is a Makiv Dikir Inyan, is higher. It's a higher Gilu. It's Makiv. That the Dafkin, it's all Achonat. Bashpor Pnimius, the Ichud, the Chosam, the Kalam, Bashpor Pnimius, there with the Etzim lies. That's in the Kudla of the mind of the Kotointi. And that's what he's going to say here. In different oases. In a way, even stronger here than there. So let's see. Let's continue. So we're up to, it identified like this. So there are three dargis. This is very important. There are three dargis. The three dargis are Oir Makiv, Oir Pnimi, and Shefa. We give Mishalom for all of it, which correspond to Oir. The parallel is in the Neshama, in the Guf, the Oir level of the Neshama in the Guf, the highest level, and the Koyach level. That corresponds to Oir Makiv, Oir Pnimi, and Hashefa, which corresponds to Yeah, just,
why are you saying shefa? No. And kalim. You said makif or pnimi, and the third thing is kalim.
Yeah, that's that's shefa. That's mitzvah the kalim.
Okay.
And then that corresponds, I said yesterday, etzem klal uprat, and corresponds to the three inyan in Lamaila, as you said, of oir, makif, pnimi, and kalim. So we explained all this over the last 2 days. So just repeating in broad brush strokes the difference. We give the difference of a chassid's hashpah in his environment. One is he just is himself. That inspires. That's makif. He's not engaging in any way at all. A second darga, a quasi darga between that, we'll go skip to the third darga. The third darga is mashpiyah, brings and gets involved in people's lives, and the pnimi is in yodim and guides and so invested. And the third darga, the middle darga, is that he's not invested. On the other hand, he is portraying himself in a way that is lefiyarach the mekabel. He's not doing his avodah as he would. They're not a keli. So, Moishe, that the chassidim, that all the shulgash, and then the garelik, the many tzedisha rabbanim that do this, that they shachas, they appear as if they're davening with a minyan, and then they daven avodah later. Why? Because they're not kelim for not davening with the minyan, davening bariches, Zman Krishma, and all of the Hagabolis. So in that case, he's not engaging his community. He's just being mumble, being metzamtzem, his gilui, the fiyarach, the makablim, that they should not be privy, not see that which is not a keli to. We should blow them away, which is the oir makif. Oir makif means an uncompromised. This is what the moir expresses itself without being compromised. No tzimtzum. That's what oir makif means. Now it's called makif because, as it goes on to say now, the effect of the environment is a makivdik effect. It's beyond them. It's transcendent. It's inspiring. See a chassid. It's inspiring when you don't talk to him. But it's a makivdik expression. Now he's going to address specifically the effect on the environment on the keli, the effect on the keli from these three eifanim of hashpah. Makif or Gilui, Makif, Pnimi, or Chef Ashpah, Mitzat the Keli. That he's explaining now. What's going to emerge, that Dafka, when he gets down, again, Tamida Yesimikola, Dafka, when he gets down into being Mashpir, but from Pnimi, that draws on the etzem of the Mashpir. And that's Megala, Keches Ben, didn't even know he had. The Moshel he's going to bring here is Ashpah, the tip of Gashmi at the end. The tip of Gashmi is Megala, the etzem of the person, of the father, more than the deepest seichel. That's Ashpah, that's Shef and Mama. She's giving of self, piece, literally a piece of self. And it's very small. It's a Bechitzonius, compare a tip of Gashmi to a deep idea that a person expresses. Bechitzonius, this is Seichel, that's him. The tip of Gashmi, Behem also produces a tip of Gashmi. Spirit. But the emphasis is that in that, but it's Ashpah, it's a shtick from the person himself. That's where the etzem lies. That's going to be the end. So let's begin. Though it's page, the same page numbers as you have. It's page Nunvo. No, you have different page numbers, but it is Ois Dalet. Ois Dalet has 2 paragraphs. The second paragraph is Dalet. Excuse me. The achiluk being gimel pridasamal, the difference in the 3 outputs that we just described. Makif being self uncompromised. Pnimi containing one's expression but not engagement. Then third level, engagement. We gave another motion of a teacher in the classroom yesterday, and this motion not born Chassidus. Not exactly like this. Chassidus always brings the motion of the teacher. But the first ofen is his teaching. The first ofen is, he says the mission the way he would say the mission. Comes across, says the mission the way he says. Teaches it, right? But he teaches it, says the Mishnah. He understands that Mishnah on his level. Or let's assume the kids understand Hebrew. So he says the Mishnah. Second level is, he then articulates the Mishnah on the level of the classroom. We're not engaging the Proteus, any student. He's now re-articulated this on their level. And third level is, he's engaging each Talmud according to his, sits with each Talmud at his desk, and explains it and addresses his questions, etc. Gets into the world of the individual Talmud knowledge. This is Oich, Chayis, and Koyach, also in terms of the Neshama's investor in the group. Oich is the body's alive. That's true in every part of the body equal. No part of the body is more alive than anything else. Is the Etzem HaChayis. That's called Oich. Chayis already is Simtz already. When I didn't say this yesterday, but using, in talking about the Neshama in the group, Chayis means, let me give another marshal, not of physical life, but personality. It's the same meaning. There's a fact that there's a person, a human being. Now that we're all equal, fundamentally all equal, human being. Then there's your personality type. The type is, that's the cloud. That's the cloud. What kind of person? There's certain personalities. And then there's koyach, that's the individual expressions of it. His emotions like this, his seichels like this, he walks like this, he talks like this. That's the pratistic expression. So that's in personality. That's a human being, personality type, and then the faculties, the measurable faculties of his engagement and how he talks, etc. But pratis. It's all the same, different Mishalim for the same Indian. So likewise in the Neshama animating the goof, it's also the three dargas. There's the Etzem Chayis, which is everybody has equally alive, they're alive. Then there's the type of, that means Beruchnis. Beruchnis, I mean physiologically. The general kind of energy is different one person to the other, overall. And then there's the koyach, the individual, his sight, the individual faculties are certainly individual. But the individuality starts already at the level of chayes. It's overall a different, you could say, some people are capable of just more energetic, they're just more energetic than others. That's chayes. All it is, he's alive, no one's more alive than anybody else. It's atmospheric. Then there's overall persona, gashmius, energy. And then there's the koyach as it's invested. He talks, he walks, he sees, he speaks it. The pratis inyan. That's the engagement. It's at the kelim. That's already the union of chef. That corresponds to the three dargas l'mayla, a makif, a pinimi, and kelim. Question. So now we're getting this ice again. Okay, it's getting clearer. Yeah.
Why are you interchanging kelim and shefa? That's
what it is. That's what shefa means. It means you ashpa, that's in skabel, that the kelim is in this world. That's what ashpa means. It's tzad kelim. Not the changing it, that's what it is. Okay, now this distinction that we're describing now, the three outputs, a makif, a pnimi, and ashpa. So later, mashpia, it's not just a difference in terms of what the mashpia is expressing. And then this is the point which we didn't learn. He's talking, he explained the Mishnah of Chassidus and Pirkei Avos like this. So there's 2 days. One day it says it's midas baininess. Okay, that's fair. It's mine is yours is yours. What does that mean? It means I don't mind giving you as long as I'm not losing. So explain that darga is the darga of oil. If my presence inspires you, good, very happy. Then that's shali shalach shalach shalach. You're getting from me. But the shali remains uncompromised. That's the type. And the other opinion is that midas doy. It's all you're ready to give, it doesn't cost you anything. You have to give that zechasa. Give of your time, of your energy. It's got to be hashpa pnimis. It's the third dark, it's not enough just the middle dark. Okay, you'll compromise yourself a little bit. You won't do something so that that person doesn't get the wrong impression, whatever. So there's a quasi engagement, but you're not engaged in this world yet. You're still in your world. That's pnimi. That's the tzimtzum in the but not mitzad the kelim. What's required is then of a zechas. You should be mashpi in such a way that you're chassid, like that's getting involved in a person's life. Be mashpi is taking from your time, getting into a world that's not your world, problems that are not your problems, and engaging there. Like the teacher on the third level, that is sitting down with each kid, getting into their world mamash. That's chassid, and that the second opinion is that if you don't do that, it's midas doy. It's selfish. SOB.
Harsh.
Yeah. You're ready to give. I'm ready to be the nice guy as long as it doesn't compromise my life. But even worse than that is, if it enhances me, I get covered for it. There is Zen, then there is Zen, then. Mishnah doesn't even speak about such a thing. That's the after charts. You're going to do something for the other guy, I mean me. I get recognition, I'll be a nice guy, and you get covered. Mishnah doesn't even talk about this. This is Pirkei Avos is Nilsa the Chasidusa. So it deals with a case where he's ready to mashpia, but he's not going to detract from himself. He used the other guy. Does that finish? What are you talking about? Anyway, so let's go for this. So now he's saying, now he wants to talk about the effect on the recipient. In the bracket, you follow all this. It's quick, but overview. Got it. The cloud. Basically, okay. So when you're mashpi, you're getting down to the person's world. This is ashpa, mamish. This is mitzad kelim. Obviously, you're taking from his time. He's getting into a world that's not his world. It could be learning and davening and advancing his knowledge, whatever he wants to do with his life. It's pnimi. There's no chassid. I'm just not letting you see me so much. I'm not lacking anything. Not lacking, but it's pnimi. Again, the chassid that is pretending to daven is lacking. He's thinking chassid is there too. His world wasn't compromised. The fact he pretends to daven with the minyan, they're not seeing what he doesn't want them to see. So he's still not lacking. During that time, he's learning davening trachti. Koshkin b'er makif, for sure, ein makif when he's just being himself. For sure, ein chassid. So not only is there a difference in the mashpia where the chassid and not chassid. The third level, it's mamash chassid. The second one, not. The first one, rather than this. And the gamba, the clear, yeah. And the gamba makabel, there's a big difference for the makabel, which we haven't focused on till now. Now the focus on the makabel. Obviously, the more the mashpia invests, the more he gives of himself and takes away from his time and his koiches and his world, as a man and makabel yosef, so the recipient benefits more. Heinrich he spells out when the environment, the makabel is being inspired in makif, it's not an engagement, it's just presence. Given shemashpia lechased, since the mashpia hasn't paid the price at all, it's not giving, not lacking anything. In the gam meitzel makabel ein ze beoifen shenene bepnimius. That's not going to make a pnimius change. It's inspiring, but it's not your world. Not your world, so it's just not going to change you internally because his level of what you're seeing is not you, it's just inspiring. It's wow, it's beautiful. And as long as you're in his orbit, you're going to be, behaving appropriately because you're just inspired. The moment you leave, it was a nice experience, and back to who you were. That's only a makiv effect, which is necessary. This is necessary, but it's not lasting. It's achana. That is the veiling. That is the veiling of the color before. That's the first encounter. It's makiv. Because he pushes covers her. They don't see upon him face to face. There's no engagement. But it's a necessary canix. The whole mind goes and explains. You cannot go into that sport. Pnimius just without first the stages of makiv. And he doesn't know the three darkness, but first makiv and then pnimius. speaks two dargis. It's critical. In a way, the makif dag is higher. It explains all the mashalim of the makif, of sichas, the Talmidei Chachamim, all the mashalim he gives there in that makif. But still, at the end of the day, the change is not the pnimius. The relationship is not the pnimius. Now, this is in brackets now. It's a little bit of it's a very subtle point. We'll try and explain. Shaila, an answer. Brackets. I mean, I'm just saying it is. It's not in brackets. I'm saying it is in brackets. I'm just saying it's like a shaila in brackets. He doesn't put it in brackets. That's just the publishers. Because it could. I'm just. I think if you listen to the way that Rabbi said, the Maimar, this was on Shabbos. It's not on the tape. There's also a way in the tone. The tone sometimes drops a little bit, and it's parenthetical. Right. It's said in the same thing. This was said in the same thing. So they're not putting it in brackets because it's part of the gufa mind. But it's still a question and answer. And that is, and even though it says elsewhere, what do we just say now? We just said now that the Ashbom is the Makib. It's nothing to do with the Makabel. And it's just the mashpia and leichasa. He is what he is, and he's being viewed, doesn't even know he's being viewed, etc. But even though all revelation, even that which is which is we said uncompromised expression of the moed of a luminary, in this case of the chassid in Moishe. It says so there is engagement. Kalim means if you're person. When a person is in an environment, there is a certain engagement with the environment. There's an element of Kalim. He's not just being pure him, disembodied, what's I'm looking for? Detached from his environment. Any gilu, he takes into account the environment. At some level. He got rest. He was going outside. It's a different divorce. He went to shul. Then he davens in his house. So there is an element of kalim. So there is an engagement. He says, nonetheless, but there's more to this, but you get the general idea. There's a kalim, which means there's an interaction with the world, but he's not in that sense. Again, like Poshik got dressed. He's wearing clothing that he doesn't wear at home when he goes out to show. But ain't there bislabshus, not invested in it. It's an element of keli. Every gilui needs, what this means really is that every revelation has a getter to it, has a definition. It's descriptive in some way. And that means this keli. Still, it's not the same as we're talking about investor engagement. Ain't there bislabshus. And he gives the moshel that we gave before. I didn't read further before. But the moshel, the person is in the vicinity of a tzaddik. He's the chassid while he's davening. The tefillah of the tzaddik affects him. That he's affected. He's inspired and he davens in a different way. It's still makif. So keli means also that he's relatable in some way. I'm seeing him and I'm relating to him. But still it's in a way of makif. But that is not a way that the recipient benefits and internalizes. And this is the reasons it's explained in my Morim of Chanukah. As follows. It's not enough to Hamshacha of the 8 princes of man. I'll just read the words and I'll tell you what it means. In the second, that's a Makif de Kashpa. And that's what is Gam Hamshacha, the Shivaroim, the 7 shepherds. What's he referring to? He's referring to this Nevuah in Micha. So here it is, in my homework, looked up, tried to say it for you. This is quoted frequently in Siddur, particularly in the Memorim of Shmini Atzeres and Chanukah. because both are Shmini. Chanukah is 8 days, Shmini Atzeres, Shmini Atzeres. So just tell you the context. Here's what the pasuk says. What? Hey, what? Hey, Dalit, yeah. So it's a nevuah about L'aseh Lavai, and this English, and this shall be peace. Should Assyria come into our land, then when Mashiach comes, and should they tread upon our palaces, we will appoint over them 7 shepherds and 8 princes of men. And they, the 7 shepherds and 8 princes of men, in Lashon HaKodesh, Shiva Roim Ushmein Nesichi Atam, and they shall break the land of Assyria with a sword, and the land of Nimrod at its gates. And he shall save us from Assyria, he, Mashiach, ultimately, who comes into our land and who treads in our border. Very cryptic. Now, who are these 7 shepherds and 8 Nesichi Adam? So the Gemara in Sukkah says, and the fascinating thing is, I'll read them to you. Rashi says, in his commentary there, I don't know where they get this, where the Gemara comes up with this. Just got it from the Alma. That's the usual expression of Rashi. I'm not going to go into this now, but Mefarshim do explain. This is understood. And that is that the 8 are makiv dikashpa. 8 is believable. 8 is infinite, it's beyond the 7 midas. And the 7 shepherds, like a shepherd, nourishes, nourishes the flock. That's Ashpa Pnimis. That's what he's talking about now. It's not enough to have the Shmini Nesichi Adam, the Ashpa Makiv, that's Achana. It has to be also the Shiva Royim, that Ashpa can become the Pnimis. That's just to tell you who they are. So the Gemara in Sukkah says as follows. The 7 shepherds are the Shiva Royim. It's also fascinating, the Gemara describes it. David in the middle, the Adam and Shais and Vishlach on his right. Shais, the son of Adam, and Avraham, Yaakov, and Moishe on David's left. So these are the Shiva Royim. Yeah? These are Ashpa Pnimis, shepherds. Who are the 8? The Shmini Nesichi Adam, Yishai, don't know his father, Shaul, Shmuel, Amos, Tzfanya, and Chizkiah. I'm sorry, Chizkiah, not finished. Eliyahu and Mashiach. So these are the 8. There's another day that says not Chizkiah but Tzidkiah. One of the 2. But Rashi is fascinating. I don't know why, where the Gemara gets this thing. But again, it's understood, although it's a little bit in some of them. The first shepherds were Mama shepherds. Some of them, David and Moishe were Mama shepherds. Avraham. Why is Yitzchak mentioned? The Gemara says. No, Rashi brings. Rashi in Sukkah brings. Where's Yitzchak? It's obvious, like if you're talking about Misa V'Yav. So Yitzchak's busy schlepping Yidden out of Gehenna. Brings from a medrash. While they're fighting the invasion of Assyria, whatever this means. Assyria Bechal is the sign of Ashiris, the last Nisayan. The last Nisayan Yidden will face is Me'eretz Asher. And theirs was for thousands of years. And now, well, that's the last bitter. So, whatever. So, Yitzchak is busy schlepping Yidden out of Gehenna in this last Messiah. I'm just adding a little bit of bitters. Okay, we'll stop here. We'll tell our story.